Ladies, it's Miss Lady Lace here on my glamour channel with my next fabulous pinup posing tutorial to share with all of you. Today I am going to be teaching you how to pose with your hands and what to do with them in pictures. This is a topic I'm asked about all the time on Instagram and during photo shoots that I'm assisting in, and I thought I'd break down what do we do with our hands in photos. This video is most suited to photos, so whether you're taking your own selfies at home or if you're in a photo shoot, but it's also useful if you're taking part in a pinup contest or performing on stage. Our hands are rather important. They will convey how we feel, and they can often be a source of tension in photos. One of the first things I'd say to do is to browse some pinup pictures, whether it's your favorite pinup model like Decolletage or Betty Page. Look at some vintage photos of Hollywood actresses and also browse some pinup art. Think Gil Elfgren, Alberto Vargas, or whatever your favorite pinup artist is. While looking at these photos, you can see how their hands sit and how important they are. It can be a good idea to reflect on your own pictures too. Go through some of the photos you've had taken in the past and see what your body language conveys. It can be very common for us to not know what to do with our hands or have them gripped awkwardly off to the side, and it conveys that we're not fully confident in the picture or on stage. So today I'll be breaking down what I like to do with my hands in photos. It's important to remember, just like all my videos here on YouTube, these videos are guidelines rather than strict rules. They're my own personal preferences rather than strict rules on how you have to do something in pinup. Pinup has no rules at all. Just have fun with what you're doing and express yourself with how you like. But if you'd like to learn more with how to pose your hands, do watch the rest of this video. If you're interested in learning more about pinup posing, I have a whole series here on YouTube. I haven't posted a new video in a little while for this specific series, which is why I'm getting back in it today. But I have a range of videos including your basic pose, arm lines, leg lines, and other things such as this. I'll take a couple steps back and we'll get started with our hands and the most basic way we can pose with them. We're going to start by just literally popping them onto our hips. Depending on your outfit, if your outfit is really nice and tight, I'd say lower them onto your hips, but as mine comes out a little bit here, I'm going to place them onto my waist. With my hands in this position, I want to make sure that they don't look stressed, so I don't want them scrunched in or flexed out too far, as that conveys that I'm feeling a little bit more nervous. So I'm just relaxing them. I'm trying to keep them evenly spaced rather than doing odd positions with them. So they're nice and evenly spaced. With our arms, we want to make sure our elbows aren't too far forward or too far back. We want to make sure they're relaxed down so they're not stressed up. And that way we can create a beautiful picture. Whether we're on stage or in a photo, by putting our hands on our hips, we're not actually having to worry about them too much as they're already looking beautiful. And if you're newer to pinup performance or photos, this is a nice and easy spot to start. Pose number 2 is to take our hand out to the side. It can be a little bit lower, a little bit higher, it can be turned up. But what we really need to think about now is how we're going to make our hand look elegant. Especially look at burlesque dancers, pinup models, and also ballet dancers. They're really great for beautiful hand inspiration, and this is something I'd recommend practicing a lot in a mirror. When my hand goes off to the side, I think about pointing my pointer finger and letting my other fingers either fall into a light fan, or I lightly raise my pinky a little bit to create a bit of shape. If possible, I also try and have a light arch in my hand as it creates a beautiful angle rather than just letting it sit flat off to the side. So with my hand to the side, I can lightly fan it or turn up that pinky, and I can reverse that and play around from that position. Whenever my hand's directly by my side, I either have that same position, or quite often I like to have a flexed hand, as in modeling we're all about creating those lovely angles. I have an angle through this joint and I have an angle off on this side here. Even with the straight arm, I can still have the angle through my wrist joint. Hands can be really powerful both in photos and on stage, as they bring attention to different things. I could highlight my face or I could trace a part of my body to bring attention to there. For pose 3, we're going to bring our hand onto our décolletage. And again, we need to think about that pretty hand. So I either have that evenly fanned out, or I can lightly turn up a pinky and flex it under. It's all about seeing what best suits your hand type and shape. Like I mentioned before, this sort of motion can bring attention. Maybe we're wearing some beautiful stockings and we're tracing up that area as the photo is taken, or we're tracing our décolletage to bring attention to here. This may be because we're wearing some beautiful lingerie or a necklace that we're trying to showcase. For most of the poses, I've kept one hand on my hip and moved it around in this position. We can take them both off and pose with them around, but we're always trying to create beautiful angles and also highlight our hands so they look beautiful and elegant. With our hands and our arms, we're trying to focus on highlighting ourselves as best as possible. So we don't want to do anything that kind of blocks and gets in the way too much. So if we think about taking both hands up, I could have one bent to the side, trying to capture a beautiful look with my hand. So having a play around, seeing what looks best. And I can take my other hand and place that onto here, and we could pose like so. I'm trying to keep my face open so I'm not blocking my face with my hand, so I'm highlighting that area. And if there's anything else you're trying to highlight or a product you're trying to sell in your photo shoot, you really want to make sure that you're not blocking or making that look less flattering. In previous videos, I've spoken about how posing is a slow motion dance, and it's the same that applies to our hands. We really want to play around with that and have a bit of fun. During a photo shoot, a photographer especially is going to take lots of different pictures of us, so we can really flow through our different positions, playing with different angles and different looks, having a little bit of fun with each movement and trying to look as fabulous as possible. The worst thing that happens is a bad photo will be captured and it just won't be used for that photo shoot. The same is for if you are doing your own photos at home and just taking some selfies. Just play around with different poses and have a little bit of fun. Chances are you are going to capture a fabulous photo by moving through different poses, trying different angles, seeing how to best emphasize your hands. Some fun and fabulous ways to pose our hands. We can start with them upon our hips, posing through, bringing one out to the side, flexing that by the side, bringing both hands down, both hands coming up a bit, one onto our décolletage, both onto our décolletage, highlighting our face, moving around through. We can also bring them up to our face. We want to make sure that we don't let them sit on our face, as this will show in pictures. If we lightly hover around this area, it'll create a much more fabulous look. It's all about having a bit of fun and experimenting with all your different poses. These have been my tips and a few fabulous ways you can pose with your hands. I truly hope you've enjoyed today's video and found it a little bit useful. If you have, be sure to give it a like and a comment, as that really helps me out. If there are any other videos you'd like to see about pinup posing, hair and makeup, or anything else, be sure to let me know in the comments below. If you'd like early access to these videos, exclusive content, and to help support me here on YouTube, I do have my glamour community on Patreon. I'd like to thank all my patrons, but especially my VIP glamour patrons, which are listed on screen now. To follow my daily pinup adventures and for more posing inspiration, I post super regularly to Instagram and TikTok. I'll pop a little link here as well as at the end of the video. And to never miss out on my vintage fun, be sure to hit the subscribe button below, turn on those bell notifications, and I will be seeing you all real soon.